Hey, I'm Stephen Ewashkiw from Adventure Yoga, and this is a yoga sequence breakdown of Surya Namaskar. Now, in yoga classes these days, Surya Namaskar A and Surya Namaskar B tend to be a little more common than Surya Namaskar, but Surya Namaskar is the original vinyasa. This is the original sequence of poses. Now, I say that, but there is some variation in what poses fit into this sequence. You can read more about that on the blog post I've written all about Surya Namaskar and the benefits of Surya Namaskar. There's a link to it in the description for this video. The other thing there's a link to in the description for this video is a yoga pose breakdown of each of the poses in this sequence. Because in this yoga sequence breakdown, I'm going to help you figure out how those poses fit together into the sequence, but I'm not going to give you a really detailed breakdown of how to do each pose. So if you want to learn that, look at the description for this video, and you'll find links to all of those blog posts, and they all have videos, they all have descriptions, lots of information there for you. But let's get to it. I've been talking enough. Unroll your mat, stand on your mat in Tadasana, and let's practice Surya Namaskar. Ready to work through the Surya Namaskar breakdown with me? Please stand in Tadasana at the top of your mat. In the traditional variation of this sequence, this is done with feet together. So if you are ready to practice Tadasana with feet together, please do. Know that you will also be doing a standing back bend with feet together and Uttanasana with feet together. So if you would prefer a little more space for your base, a little more balance, just separate your feet a little, no problem. Choose. Tadasana. Steady your breath. Before we go into it, the next pose is a standing back bend. So if you have your feet hip distance apart, I recommend doing the standing back bend with your hands, your arms, shoulder distance apart, like Urdhva Hastasana. But if you have your feet together, I recommend hands together and arms straight, like Urdhva Namaskarasana. Stretch up and choose. Hands, shoulders apart, or hands together, and do a standing back bend. Hasta Uttanasana, or hand intense stretch. And then lift up and fold forward. Uttanasana, you can hear the intensity in my voice there. And then, no, and then. Fold forward, Uttanasana. If you can place your hands flat and legs straight, do that. Step your right leg back and bring your right knee down for low lunge or Ashwa Sanchalanasana. I like fingertips here. Gives me a little more space to lift up. And generally, we shift forward with our hips when we're doing Surya Namaskar for a little more hip extension in the back hip, a little more hip flexion in the front hip, a little more stretch and strengthen. It's a warm-up, so this gets a little more warm-up work happening. Downward facing dog. Place your hands flat. Lift it up and back. Down dog. Plank pose. And then knees, chest, chin. Bring your knees to the ground. Stick your butt up, bend your elbows, bring your chest and chin to the ground. Also called Ashtanga Namaskara, or 8-limb bowing pose or prayer pose. Slide your toes back and place the tops of your feet on the ground. Pull back with your hands, move your hips down, pelvis down, lift your chest up. Cobra, Bhujangasana. Your shoulders down, lift up through your chest, and downward facing dog. So in our first Ashwa Sanchalanasana, or low lunge, you had your right leg back. So for this part of the sequence, it's right leg forward. So step your right leg forward, bring your left knee down to the ground. And you can have your hands flat or come up onto your fingertips. I like fingertips. Push your hips down and forward, lift your chest. Ashwa Sanchalanasana, also called horse riding pose or equestrian pose. That's really what the name translates as, but generally called low lunge. And then step forward, Uttanasana. Choose feet together or feet hip distance apart. And Hasta Uttanasana, standing back bend. Push down through your legs, stretch up, and back bend. And Tadasana. Now we'll do Surya Namaskar with our breath, so you can see how it all fits together into the flow. Mountain pose. Exhale. Standing back bend. Inhale. Forward fold. Exhale. Low lunge, right leg back. Inhale. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Plank pose. Inhale, knees, chest, chin. Exhale. Cobra. Inhale. Down dog. Exhale. Right leg forward, low lunge. Inhale. Forward fold. Exhale. Standing back bend. Inhale. Mountain pose. Exhale. For this round of Surya Namaskar, I will use the Sanskrit. So you start to hear those and recognize those and start to learn those. Tadasana. Exhale. Hasta Uttanasana. Inhale. Uttanasana. Exhale. Ashwa Sun Salutation, right leg back. Inhale. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Exhale. Palakasana. Inhale. Ashtanga Namaskara. Exhale. Bhujangasana. Inhale. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Exhale. Right leg forward. Ashwa Sun Salutation. Inhale. Uttanasana. Exhale. Hasta Uttanasana. Inhale. Tadasana. Exhale. And that's our Surya Namaskar breakdown. I hope that's helped you understand how to fit together this sun salutation sequence so that you can make it flow a little bit more in your practice and when it comes up in class. If you would like to do a practice of this sequence now, there's a 10-minute practice of Surya Namaskar that you can do with me. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, just click on my picture over there and subscribe. Thanks.